Hello and namaste. My name is Inge Patsch and welcome to the series Social Business. Today I would like to talk with you about the difference between social business and microfinance. Both can be kind of traced down to Professor Mohammed Yunus, yet he was the one who in 1983 was the first one to start something we call microfinance nowadays. So microfinance is if you provide a small sized loan, normally in the range of 500 to 2,000 euro, but sometimes even as less as 50 or 100 euro, for micro businesses or sometimes education or anything else which furthers a person or a family in their capacities. So normally it's used for some kind of micro-sized businesses. The main difference of these kind of credits to other credits would be that normally there is no collateral, so you don't have to prove that you have any house or ground which you can put as a collateral for the loan, but rather than this, you normally, in most models, you're like packed up in groups of borrowers, normally five people or five borrowers who are taking care of each other, and in case one of the 4 or 5 ladies cannot pay back the money, or one of the 5 loan takers is not able to pay back, the others will step in. Of course there are other models, but this is one of the dominant models in microfinance. What you do with this money then, which type of business you run, how exactly you invest it to make sure that you have a profit, there is like no limitation. The base idea is simply to say, okay, you get kick-started, you get having a starting fund for doing a kind of small micro-sized business, which allows you and your family to be able to participate in the market fully. So the most prominent case study probably globally and the first microfinance business at all is the Grameen Bank from Bangladesh, which was the bank which was founded, if you want to say so, by Professor Mohammed Yunus in 1983, where he was traveling a village and figuring out that these women are simply lacking the base capital to make their first transaction in the market, so to make their first investment. And hence he has given from his private pocket the first microloans to women and figured out that they pay back. Nowadays, Grameen Bank is owned to 96% by its own borrowers. This works because every borrower also needs to open a savings account in Grameen Bank. And actually in Bangladesh and many other countries, there is a very strong focus on women. So in Grameen Bank, 97% of all borrowers are women and are bringing back the wealth which they create through this investment to their families. Let's now talk about what is social business. Very brief. Social business is a business which is centered around a certain mission or a certain social objective you want to achieve, and then around this you build a business model, and of course you treat other stakeholders well. So in center, as I said, it's mission oriented. So the mission can be, for example, to provide employment to blind people, or to provide healthy and nutritious food items to malnourished children. This could be 2 possible missions, and then around this mission you make up a viable business model. So you really calculate through, like, what is your operating cost, what are the income possibilities you have. You sell a product to the market, so you don't provide like a social service, but you really sell a product to the market so that you're independent of donations or governmental subsidies, for example. So there are owners in a social business and they invest money into this business, and this money is an opposite to an NGO, for example, coming back at a certain stage in time. Even though it's patient capital, as Jacqueline Novogratz called it, so it can take a lot of time, but last but not least, they're supposed to get it back. But there is no or low dividend payment. There are different opinions about this in the market, but the main aim is it's not existing for its shareholders. It's really existing for the mission which we had above. So the financial business model is just the means, or profit is just the means, but not an end. Everyone involved, including of course the owner, is supposed to earn a fair salary with better working conditions. So of course everyone needs to make a living. So everyone should get paid. It's not voluntarily work you do. It's not like a selfless altruistic social service. In the same time, any social business is supposed to act environmentally friendly, in best case in a regenerative manner, which is building up biomaterial, but at least in a neutral, sustainable manner. So the key difference I would identify from these two concepts is that on the one hand, in microfinance, we say the individual is the owner of the business and is at the same time the beneficiary of the very idea of microfinance. So as a recipient of microfinance, I am the beneficiary of the whole activity, and then I run some kind of business, but there is no ethical limitation on this business. So if I don't know, decide to open a knife shop in my village because knives are sold so nicely and well, they are used also for criminal delicts, then I still am a social business. No, if it's, as long as it's a viable business model, it works. In worst case, you could even say if you use the money for drug dealing and you make a viable living from this, it would still work. No, probably there might be social limitations that this is not possible, but in the definition of social business, of microfinance per se, there is no limitation. While in a social business, you can say the owner, yes, he should make his living from this whole thing and he should have a good life, no wonder, but he is not the main beneficiary. The beneficiary are like other stakeholders involved. So one could claim that like the microfinance banks are social businesses, and Professor Mohammed Yunus is calling them type 2 social businesses, not because the lending of money to the woman is like the social activity, but more because he's claiming that women are the owners of Grameen Bank. So in that case, we could consider the Grameen Bank a social business type B, employee oriented, because they elect all the women themselves are the shareholders of the full bank. So that's where I see the connection, but also the difference between microfinance and social business. I hope you have enjoyed my video. If you would like to have more information, please visit my website monon.eu or subscribe me on this channel.